doing a very good job. Our first problem says, which represents a gross? The first one, a set of 100 things. Make sure you know now. Option A, a set of 100 things is called a century. This option is not the correct answer, so that doesn't represent a gross at all. What about option B? A set of 144 things is called a gross. This is the correct answer. So that's your gross, 144 things. No problem. However, although we have the correct answer, let us move and see what the other option says. What about option C? A set of 50 things has no special name. Because it is half of 100, we may say that it is half of a century. So option D, a set of 20 things is called a score. So option D is also incorrect. So a set of 144 things is said to be a gross. Now we have some problems, and it involves 3 sets. And the sets are the set of students who play squash, and the set of those who play tennis, and the set of those that play badminton. So we are asking the question, who play all of the games? The persons who play all of the games can be seen to be in all 3 sets. So if we can see where all the sets overlap, then we may be able to tell. Now, there is only one individual, which is Althea, in the region where the 3 sets overlap. Right there. So that is Althea. The answer is therefore option B, which is Althea. So option B is our answer. Then let's say, for argument's sake, we cannot look at the set of players and tell where the 3 sets overlap. Although students should be able to. Let's say someone cannot tell. How can we still answer the question and get it right? Pay special attention to this one now, Jerry. Same question we are asking. Who play all the games? Well, I think that if we could write down the students who play each game, then we are able to tell by looking at the 3 sets. So let us do that now. We may write down the names of the person who play each sport. So let us write down those that play badminton first. So look at that set badminton. It is highlighted by having the blue all around it. What are those students inside there? Althea, Sonia, Jill, and Gary. So let us look at those who play squash. Squash. Look at that set with the red around it. Carlos, Jay, Carla, Althea, and Keisha. And let us do the same for tennis. Write down all of those who play tennis. Jane. So we have Jean, Jay, Carlos, Althea, Mandy, Sonia, and Janet. So we have listed all of these students that play badminton, all who play squash, and all who play tennis. So we need to look in those sets and see the name of those players that are in all of the sets. So we need to find someone who is in this one, and that person or those persons may be in this set and also this. Careful examination will show that only Althea is present in all the sets. So Althea is present in all the sets, but might not be so clear. So what do we do? Let us shift it up a little bit. Good. Now we see that Althea is over Althea, so we are sure that Althea is in those two sets. What about the other one? Put it right under there and also highlight it there so we see that Althea is in all three sets. So the answer is Althea, and that represents option B. So that confirms that what we did in our first attempt at the problem is correct. All right. Who plays both badminton and tennis? So who plays both badminton and tennis? So what do we do? To determine who plays both badminton and tennis, we may look at the region where the two sets overlap. So let us see the two sets. Good. The two sets are there and they overlap. And in the portion, the region that they overlap, we have Althea and Sonia. So the persons in the region are Althea and Sonia. This represents option D. So we have the option here with Althea and Sonia, that is D. So we know that D is the answer. However, let us answer that same question again. We may write down the names of the persons who play each sport. So we have those. So we have in badminton, we have Althea, Sonia, Jill, and Gary. In the other sport is tennis. And of course, we have all of this. Jean, Jay, Carlos, Althea, Mandy, Sonia, and Janet. So we need to know those who play the two sports. So what do we say now? We look in the list for badminton and in the list for tennis and see if we have players who are in both those sets. So let's look. So look for persons that are in both sets. Let us do that. Althea is present in both sets. There we have them marked. Sonia is present in both sets. Right. So the two players are Althea and Sonia. And if we look at our list that we have of the option that we have right there, we will say Althea and Sonia, and the option is D. So no other person is present in both sets. The answer is therefore Sonia and Althea, confirming that option D is the correct answer. Why we say confirm? Because we know that we worked the question out already and solved that problem. So we are sure from a long time ago that the answer is Althea and Sonia, which is option D, but we have taken another approach to the problem. There we go. How many persons play tennis only? To find out the number of persons who play tennis only, we may examine the diagram in order to see those persons who are only in the set tennis. So we may look, this is the set tennis. Suppose we say J then. J is also in tennis. But see the set squash come all the way around here. So J is also in squash. So we know it's not J. We are looking at the students or the players who play only tennis. What about Althea? Althea is in tennis. Right there. Althea is in tennis. Althea is also in badminton. See? Althea is in badminton also. And Althea is also in squash. Therefore, Althea is not our answer. So we need to see if we can find those who are only in this set, tennis. There we have them. They are Jean, Mandy, and Janet. So there are three persons, Jean, Mandy, and Janet. Our answer is therefore option B. Notice that the question did not ask for those who play this sport, but the number of them that play this sport. And so there are three of them, so the answer is 3, and that represents option B. According to the question, we need those who are in the set tennis and no other set. We therefore highlight the other two sets. So let us do that. Good. So we highlight the other two sets. And we need to know those who play tennis and they do not play the other two games. So if they play tennis and do not play the other two games, we need all the players that are not in these two sets. So the ones that are not in this and they are not in this one. What are they? These are the ones that we are talking about. The ones that are not in squash and they are not in badminton are the ones that are over here, and they are the ones that play tennis only. So there we see three persons, Jean, Mandy, and Janet, confirming our answer to be option B. This problem says, if 15 apples cost the same as 20 bananas, how many bananas will cost the same as 12 apples? Now we can use ratios to solve that problem. So let us use ratios to solve this problem. Use A for apple and B for banana. The first ratio will be A to B. This is to show that in the ratios, apples always go first. So we're going to use the ratios and we're going to put apples first. So A will go first, and we have it right there, A to B. So 15 apples cost the same as 20 bananas. So what do we do? I'm waiting now, Jerry. I haven't asked you anything since we have started. So what do we do? All right. We are going to write the numbers 15 and 20 in a ratio. And 15 is going to go first because we have apples going first, apples and then bananas. So the 15 apples go first and the 20 bananas go second. So we are going to have 15 to 20. So write the numbers of apples and bananas in a ratio with the numbers of apples going first. So 15 to 20, that's very good. Bananas will cost the same as 12 apples. It actually says, how many bananas will cost the same as 12 apples? What goes first? Bananas or apples? A or B? A goes first, so the number of apples go first, and the number of bananas will go second. We need to determine the number of bananas that will cost the same as 12 apples. So let us also put this information in a ratio. Apples go first, and we do not know the number of bananas. Let us call the number of bananas B. So we are going to say the number of bananas is B, and what is the number of apples? Right there, Jerry, 12. So we have 12 apples, and the number of bananas we do not know. Let us write the two ratios as fractions, equate them, and solve the equation to determine the value of B. So that is what we're going to do now. We're going to write the ratios as fractions. But how do we do that? Let us write the ratios as fractions. The first number is the numerator, and the second number is the denominator. So the first number is going to be the numerator, and the second is going to be the denominator. But let us write our ratios first. So 15 to 20 is written as 15 20th, like that. The first number is the numerator, and the second number is the denominator. So we have another one, 12 to B. So what will go first? The numerator will go first, which is 12, and the denominator is the second number, which is B. So let us say that those two fractions are equal. So since they are equal, we may cross multiply. That means we are going to go like this and then like this. So we're going to go like this and then like this. So what do we say now? 15 multiplied by B, which is the same thing as 15B, is equal to 20 multiplied by 12. So 15 times B, 15B, is equal to 20 multiplied by 12. And that is what we have. Now, when we multiply 20 by 12, we get 240. And we still need to determine the value of b. So what do we say now? Find b by dividing by 15 on the right-hand side. So this 15b that we have here means 15 multiplied by b. So because we are multiplying 15 by b, if we are multiplying on the left-hand side, we therefore need to divide on the right-hand side in order to find our answer. Now that gives b is equal to 240 over 15, or it's going to be 240 to be divided by 15. And what is the answer, Jerry? No calculator can be used, Jerry. So do not use a calculator in order to determine the answer. b is equal to 16. And what is that option? The correct option is D. There you go. Four chairs and a table cost $10,000. If one chair cost $1,500, what is the cost of the table? So 4 chairs and a table cost $10,000. If one chair cost $1,500, what is the cost of the table? We know the cost of one chair. There are 4 of them. So let us find the total cost of the 4 chairs. So one chair costs $1,500. 4 chairs will cost 4 times that. So 4 multiplied by 1,500 is equal to 6,000. So let us work it out and see what it's equal to. Now 4 multiplied by 0 is equal to 4 or 0, Jerry. 4 multiplied by 0, 4 or 0. I don't care what some student will say, Jerry. Some students will say 40. What will you say? What do you say the answer is? All right, let us put in 40. Is it 40, 4, or 0? 0, good. So it doesn't matter what some other student will say. I'm trying to find out what you will say. So it's 4 multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. So let's put it right there. And 4 multiplied by 0 again, 0. Then what's next? 4 multiplied by 5 is equal to 20. So we are going to write down the 0 and carry 2. So the 0 goes down there, and the 2 is carried to the thousands position. Then we are going to say what? 4 multiplied by 1 or 4 multiplied by 2? You cannot multiply by the carry. You multiply by the number that was there before. So, repeat that, Jerry. Yes, Jerry. 4 multiplied by 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, and the answer is going to be 6,000 like the one that we had before. So let us write that down. 4 multiplied by 1 is 4. Then we are going to add the 4 to the 2 that we carried over, and that is going to be 6. And that is going to be equal to the answer that we had before. So that's correct. And what option is that? What option is that, Jerry? Oh, the question is not finished yet. We need to determine the cost of the table. Good. So you are paying attention. So we need to determine the cost of the table now. It says 4 chairs and a table cost $10,000. If one chair costs $1,500, what is the cost of the table? So we have discovered by multiplying 1,500 by 4 that the 4 chairs together will cost $6,000. We do not know the cost of the table as yet, so we do not supply an answer. So let us find out the cost of the table. All the chairs together cost $6,000. The total is $10,000. To find the cost of the table, we need to subtract the cost of the chair from the total amount. So let us do that. Find the cost of the table by subtracting the cost of all of the chairs from the total. There we go. So let us subtract. 0 from 0 is 0. Jerry, this program is good enough because notice that everything is written down for us. We are going to have the next one over here. 0 minus 0 is 0. So it tells you what to do at every single stage. So if I want to catch you, I'll have to ask you before the program supplies the answer, right? Good. So 0 minus 0 again is 0. So what about 0 minus 6? Okay, good. So 6 cannot be taken from 0. We therefore go to the next position and rename the one that we have over there. So we put 0 there, and the 1s is taken to that column right there, which is the thousands column, where, yes, Jerry, it's 10 times its value, yes. So we're going to say 6 from 10 is equal to 4. And what's there? A dollar sign. Is that dollar sign there appropriate, Jerry? Why can't we just write the dollar sign there? Do we need to subtract something else? Good. Only 0 is left, and 0 before the number as a leading 0 is not significant. So we may leave that answer as $4,000. The answer is $4,000. The correct option is therefore option C. Good. Which is used to measure length? Length, Jerry. The most basic form of the measurement of length is the meter. The unit that has meter in it, so the unit that has meter in its name is the one used to measure length. So which one has meter in its name? Look at it. Milliliter, kilogram, centigram, kilometer. Right, so this is the one that has meter. So kilometer is the correct answer. And it is option D. Any unit that has liter in its name is used to measure volume, and the one that has gram in its name is used to measure mass. Which prefix means 10 times? So, of course, as usual, Richard James Mathematics Resources will give you some very good devices that you can use to answer your questions, right? You don't have to agree with me, just because I'm working on this project. Although you're my assistant, you don't have to agree with me every time. But in this case, we have a very good example. So we are going to have a table, and we are going to pick the correct answer from the table. So let us put our table there. So we have the table with the ones that we usually use: milli, centi, deci, deca, hecto, and kilo. We are starting here from the smallest to the greatest, from the milli to the kilo, and we are going to put what they mean. So kilo is 1,000 times, hecto 100 times, deca 10 times, deci 1/10 of, centi 1/100th of, milli 1,000th of. So which one means 10 times? Let us mark it. Deca means 10 times, and that's our answer. Option D. Lovely. What is needed to find the area of a triangle? The base and the height, the length of one side, the length and the width, the radius. So what is so funny about this one, Jerry? Why are you laughing so much? Oh, just go ahead and work out the problem and I'll soon see. Okay. I'll see very soon then. Below is the formula for the area of a triangle. So the area of a triangle is half multiplied by base multiplied by height. Therefore, in order to determine the area of a triangle, we need the base and the height. So option A has the base and the height, as does the formula. It is the correct answer. So option A is correct, because that option contains base and height, and of course, base and height is in the formula. So that's what we really need. But let's see what B is saying to us. Option B gives the requirement for finding the area of a square. So the length of one side is what we need in order to determine the length of a square. Why is that so, Jerry? Yes, because? Yeah. Yes, that's correct. The triangle, not the triangle, the square has all sides equal. Because all sides are equal, we only need to know the length of one side and we can find the area. Option C gives the requirement for finding the area of a rectangle. Length multiplied by width, that will give the area of a rectangle. And radius, oh, that's why you are laughing. Right. There's no radius in a triangle. Radius is associated with circles. Option D gives the requirement for finding the area of a circle. So if you have the radius, you have to be talking about circles. And you need the radius in order to determine the area of a circle. So what now is measured in degrees Celsius? We cannot work this one out now, Jerry. No calculator. We can only determine that if we know it. So this problem is either you know or you do not know. What is measured in degrees Celsius? Water, temperature, flour, height. Good. Everybody can tell. Is that what you think, Jerry? Okay, so the answer is temperature. Okay. Geometrical angle should have been an option. Maybe someone would have chosen it because of the degrees. Right? But geometrical angle is not an option here. So no option here should be too much of a distractor to you. It says degrees Celsius, so students should have no problem. Option B is the correct one, which is temperature, right there. Temperature. Good. How is 1500 hours represented on the 12-hour clock? 1500 hours, how is that represented on the 12-hour clock? I'm going to use the calculator to tell me this time. On the 24-hour clock, all hours that are greater than 12 are times that are in the afternoon. So on the 24-hour clock, a number that is greater than 12 is some time that is in the afternoon. So noon would have gone, that is midday would have gone already for any number that is greater than 12. So midday, which is noon, is represented by the same hour on both clocks. Right, so if it is noon, so noon, which is midday, is represented by the same digits on both clocks. So beginning at midday, track the clocks hour by hour, and we will see what happens. So let us do that. So we're going to begin at 12 o'clock, and we are going to start with the 12-hour clock and the 24-hour clock. There we are. So 12-hour clock, we have 12 noon. And we have here 1200 hours. So we're going to add 1. On the 12-hour clock, after 12, we have 1. So that is 1 p.m. On the 24-hour clock, we have 1300 hours. Now we move to 2 p.m. That is 1400 hours. And finally, we move to 3 p.m. That is 1500 hours. So how is it represented on the 12-hour clock. It is represented on the 12-hour clock. See the 12-hour clock right there, straight across? So we know that it's 3 p.m. And 3 p.m. is option A. So 3 p.m. on the 12-hour clock is the same as 1500 hours. The correct option is A. Is there any other way to work it out? Let's see. We know that noon has the same numbers on both clocks. We have said that before. 1500 hours on the 24-hour clock is afternoon. So 1500 hours is afternoon. To determine 1500 hours is how many hours in the afternoon, we may use subtraction. Remember now, we know that 1500 hours is afternoon. So what is noon? Of course we know what noon is. Noon is 12 o'clock on the 12-hour clock and 1200 hours on the 24-hour clock. So we're going to say 15 minus 12, and that is 3. So this is 3 hours in the afternoon. So 3 hours in the afternoon is 3 p.m. And that confirms that the answer is A, which is 3 p.m. Because we know that 1500 hours comes after 1200 hours. 1200 hours is noon. 15 hours is therefore in the afternoon. But how many hours in the afternoon? We are going to subtract the time for noon. So from 1500 hours, we subtract noon, which is 1200 hours or 12 o'clock, and we end up with 3. 3 hours, so that we know that that is 3 hours in the afternoon. So we are talking about 3 p.m. So this is 3 hours in the afternoon, which is the same as 3 p.m. And of course, that confirms that option A is correct. How many cubes of volume 1 centimeter cube can the cuboid hold? Of course, in order to know how many cubes it can hold of 1 centimeter cube in size, we need to find the volume of the cuboid. How do we find the volume of a cuboid? Length multiplied by width multiplied by height. Jerry, you have been quiet for some time now. I expect you to give an answer. If you keep on responding, you will learn more. Because if you're an active participant in your own learning process, then the learning process is going to be more beneficial to you than if you sit down there and you do not answer any question at all. Good. This is not a monologue, you know. So I imagine that you will also supply some answers. So are you ready? Good. So volume is equal to length multiplied by width multiplied by height. So volume is equal to 6 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 2. 6 times 4 is 24, multiplied by 2 is 48. So the volume is equal to 48 centimeters cubed. The answer says, how many cubes of volume 1 centimeter cube can the cuboid hold? The unit of volume in this case is the centimeter cube. This is telling us how many cubes of volume 1 centimeter can hold inside the cuboid. So if the cube is a unit, is a centimeter cube, that tells you how many cube of volume 1 centimeter cube can hold inside of that. Since the volume is 48 centimeters cube, we know that 48 of the unit cube can hold inside of that cuboid. Therefore, the number of cubes of volume 1 centimeter cube is 48. So that 48 that we have there is option D. The Council of Nicea took place in 325 AD. What is true about that year? What is true? Not what is false. What is true about that year? So let's see. The first option is A. It came before the birth of Christ. AD is always in reference to time after the birth of Christ. So option A is therefore incorrect. So A is not correct. That's a lot of information for the 4th century. B. If we are in the year 2 AD, we cannot deny that time has started. Although 100 years did not pass, we are still within the first 100 year. So anything that is within the period of the first 100 year is within the period of the 1st century. A period of 100 years begins at 1 year and ends at year 100. So it begins at year 1 and ends at year 100. So that is the period of the 1st century. Any year, for example, year 15, year 29, and year 77, all of those years are in the 1st century. After that first 100 years have passed, we begin the second 100 years. So after the first 100 years pass, we begin the second 100 years. The years 105, 155, and 189 are therefore in the 2nd century. Why? Why are they in the 2nd century, Jerry? Correct. Because the first 100 years would have gone already. So they are in the second 100 years. That means they are in the 2nd century. The year 325 comes after we have finished year 300. So it comes after 300 years. It comes after the 3rd century. Because it comes after 300 years, it comes after the 3rd century. It is therefore in the 4th century. Option B is therefore correct. Option C is out because no year can be in the 4th and the 1st century at the same time. So we are sure that it is in the 4th century, so it cannot be in the 1st century. Option 325 years, option D, 325 years ago is just ludicrous. Cannot be correct. It's just ridiculous. You know of a singer by the name of Ludacris? Well, we are not talking about a singer now. His music is probably ludicrous anyway. So let's not talk about that singer by the name of Ludacris. Which will give the area of the rectangular region 12 centimeters long by 10 centimeters wide. So how do we find the area of a rectangle? Let us write down the area of the rectangle. So we're going to write down the area of a rectangle. How do we write down? The area of a rectangle is given by length multiplied by width. So the area of the rectangle is length multiplied by width. So what is the length? 12 centimeters long. So the length is 12. We're going to replace the length with 12. And the width is 10 centimeters. So we're going to replace that with 10. So replace the length with 12 centimeters and the width with 10 centimeters. So the area is equal to 12 multiplied by 10. So that's option A. As pertaining to area, the other formulae that we have up there have no meaning at all. So they do not have anything at all to do with area, the ones that we have there. The only one that makes any sense at all is the first one, and that's the correct answer. The mass of a box is 1.5 kilogram. The mass of its content is 2.5 kilogram, which will give the mass in grams of the box and its content together. What does together mean? We are going to put them together. Yes, Jerry, we're going to put them together. But how do we put numbers together? Oh, yes, we're going to add them. Very nice, Jerry. So the total mass may be found by adding the mass of the box to the mass of the content. So let us add them. 1.5 plus 2.5. Good. The mass is given in kilograms. but we need the mass in grams. 1,000 kilograms make a gram. We therefore need to multiply our answer by 1,000. So let's say that again. The mass is given in kilograms, but we need the mass in grams. 1,000 kilograms make a gram. We therefore need to multiply our answer by 1,000. There we have it. So which one of these that we have there in our option is the correct answer? Which one is the same as this? The answer is option C, because it looks exactly like this, multiplying by 1,000. This problem is very simple, especially that there was no option with divide by 1,000. So there's no option there that is dividing by 1,000, so it should be a pretty much straightforward problem. Unless you do not know how many grams make a kilogram. So the only distraction that you could have if it were divided by 1,000 rather than multiplied by 1,000. But no problem with that. We did not have a division. The only other problem that you can have if you do not know how many grams make a kilogram. Which will give the perimeter of a rectangular table. How do we know the perimeter? All right then, let us put a figure up there. So let us examine features of a rectangle. There we have our rectangle, Jerry, and we need to find the perimeter. What does perimeter means? The measurement around. And the perimeter is related to words like periscope and periphery. The perimeter of a figure is the measurement around it. This can be found by adding all the sides. So to find the perimeter, we're going to add all the sides. So let's do that. Length, then we have a width, then we have another length, and then we add another width. Good. Notice that in this sum, we have length plus width occurring twice. Well, if you do not notice, Jerry, we are going to put something there so that you cannot help but noticing. Good. So we put a blue rectangle around the first one, and not a blue rectangle this time, but a red rectangle around the other. So we have length plus width coming twice. We need to multiply length plus width by 2. Since it is the entire sum, length plus width, that we need to multiply by 2, we need to put it in brackets. So we're going to multiply length by width by 2, but we need to multiply the entire length plus width by 2. So we need to put that in bracket. So we have the length plus width in bracket, and we have it multiplied by 2 right there. And of course, let's see what option that is. Option B. So the answer is therefore option B. And we mark it like that. So what is the approximate length of an ordinary pencil before it is sharpened? So there are three things that we have to bear in mind. I have a student by the name of Calcinia who had a pencil that was about 2 feet long, which is about 24 inches long. So we are looking about 60 centimeters long. Right about that. But that's not an ordinary pencil. We are talking about an ordinary pencil now. So we have to consider an ordinary pencil, not Calcinia's pencil. You want to know how she writes with that pencil, Jerry? You'll have to see her for yourself. So we have an ordinary pencil. Notice that the question said approximate. Do not measure your pencil until after GSAT, trying to get an exact answer. So it said ordinary pencil, so we need to consider for ordinary pencil. And it said also before it is sharpened. So your pencil that you have there, Jerry, that is 1.5 inches long, cannot work. So don't measure that one. Notice also the statement before it is sharpened. We have to remember that. The correct answer is therefore 18 centimeters. This is option B. Come on now, Jerry. You should have no problem answering this one. The mass of a toy is 2.5 kilometers. What is the total mass of 8 similar toys? We have the mass of one toy. The mass of 8 of them must be 8 times the mass of one. So we're going to multiply that by 8. So we therefore need to multiply 2.5 kilograms by 8. So 2.5 times 8 is equal to 20. As quickly as that. But let's say you cannot see that immediately. Let's work it out. 8 multiplied by 5 is equal to 40. So write down 0 and carry 4 to the ones column. Then what do we do now? 8 times 2. So place the point under the point. Never forget that. So 8 multiplied by 2 is equal to 16. 8 twos, 16. But we carried 4. So 16 plus 4 is equal to 20. So we write down the entire 20. Well, we eventually will write down the entire 20. But let's do it in some order. 0 and carry 2. But there is no position to carry the 2 to. So with no other number to multiply by, write down the 2 also. So there you go, 20. Of course, this 0 that we have here coming after the point is insignificant, and we may say just 20. So the answer is 20 kilogram, and it is option D. The perimeter of the polygon is 45 centimeters. What is the length of the unknown side P? What do we mean by perimeter? We said that a while ago. Jerry, come on quickly. Give me the answer. Yes. Perimeter means the measurement around. How do we determine the perimeter? Right. Adding all the sides. So let us add the sides to determine the perimeter. The perimeter of a polygon is found by adding all of the sides. So what are the sides? P here that we don't know. Then we have 8 over here. Then we have 12. Then we have 11. And then we have 9. So we're going to add 8 plus 12 plus 11 plus 9. Notice that I did not take the numbers in the polygon all the way around in a circle. So I went about it seemingly in a random way. So I said 8 plus 12. Then I say plus 11. Then plus 9. It may look random, but it's not really random. I did that because when I put the 8 and the 12 together, I will get 20. And when I put the 11 and the 9 together, I will get 20. So it is easily added to be 40. So the perimeter is also equal to 45 centimeters. So notice that what we have is P plus all of this is equal to 45 because the perimeter is 45. How do I know that, Jerry? How I know that the perimeter is 45? Good. It is right there in the question. The perimeter of the polygon is 45 centimeters. So we are sure that the perimeter is 45. So when we add all the sides, we are going to get 45. So when we add the 8 to the 12 is 20. The 11 to the 9 is 20. So that's 40. So add the values of the known sides. When we add the value of the known sides, we get 40. So P plus 40 is equal to 45. 40 is added on the left-hand side. Now we have an equation. P plus 40 is equal to 45. So 40 is added on the left-hand side. We therefore subtract 40 from the right-hand side. So whatever we have that is added on this side, we do the opposite on the other side. Come now, Jerry, tell me what is the opposite of addition? Subtraction, right. And what is the opposite of multiplication? Good. The opposite of multiplication is division. The opposite of division is multiplication. So if we are adding on this side, we are adding on the left-hand side, so we are going to subtract on the right-hand side. So we have P is equal to 45 minus 40. So P is equal to 5 centimeters. And we are going to use this rule, Jerry, when we are going to solve a lot of equations in the long run. If we are adding on the left-hand side, what do we do on the right-hand side, Jerry? The opposite of addition is subtraction, right? And if we are multiplying on the left-hand side, what do we do on the right-hand side? We said multiply on the left. What do we do on the right? Yes, we are going to divide on the right-hand side. We are going to do the opposite of multiplication, which is actually division. So that is what we are going to do. The answer is 5 centimeters, and its option is D. Jerry, the answer is 5 centimeters. Do not put up your fingers. It is better to say 5 centimeters instead of putting up all the fingers and the thumb on your left hand. Say, Jerry, suppose the answer was 35. How would you indicate that? Do you have 35 fingers? Good. So next time, don't put up your fingers and your thumb, telling me that the answer is 5. Say 5 centimeters. That's what the answer is. And that is option D. A long distance runner took 3¼ hours to complete a race. How many minutes was this? So it took 3¼ hours to complete a race. How many minutes was this? How many minutes make an hour? 60 minutes are equal to 1 hour. The answer may be found by multiplying 3¼ by 60. You know how to do that, Jerry? What is 3 times 60? 3 times 6. Say 3 sixes. 3 sixes is 18. So 3 times 6 is 180. Okay, so we have 3 times 6 is 180. What is a quarter of 60? A quarter of 60 is 15. So what is 15 plus 180? 15 plus 180 is 195. So the answer is 195. Jerry, there's something known as numeracy skill. If you develop your numeracy skill, then mathematics is going to be a little bit easier. Just like how I can say 3 times 60, 180, a quarter of 60 is 15, 180 plus 15 is 195, and I know the answer. In a multiple choice, I can write down that answer, and I move on without have to be going through a lot of processes. But let us go through the process just to confirm our answer. 195, option C. So write 3¼ as an improper fraction. How do we do that? 4 threes, 12, plus 1, 13. So that is going to be 4 thirteenths. So the resulting fraction is 13 quarters. So the resulting fraction is 13 over 4. So we say 13 quarters. And we multiply that by 60. But what do we say? 60 may be written as 60 over 1. And then we may reduce the fraction. So the fraction may be reduced by a factor of 4. Why? 4 can go into 60. And 4 can go into 4. 4 into 4, 1. 4 into 60, 15. So we reduce that. And we have that. So 13 multiplied by 15 is equal to 195. And this is option C. And that is the same answer that we got by working it out in our minds. And that is what's going to be required of you when you are doing your GSAT multiplication or any other problem that you have. Make use of your ability to multiply, add, subtract, and divide. And that will make life easy for you. Okay, Jerry? Don't get up, Jerry. We are not through. The answer is option C. You may go now.